First Chronicles 9. The people who returned from Babylonia and settled in Jerusalem. Everyone in Israel was listed in the official family record that were included in the history of Israel's kings. The people of Judah were taken to Babylonia as prisoner because they sinned against the Lord. And the first people to return to their town included priests, Levites, temple workers, and other Israelites. People from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh settled in Jerusalem. There were 690 people from the Judah tribe who settled in Jerusalem. They were all descendants of Judah's three sons, Perez, Sherah, and Jerah. Their leaders were Uthai, Asaiah, and Juel. Uthai was the son of the Amihud and the descendant of Omri, Imri, Beni, and Perez. Asaiah was the descendant of Shelah. Juel was the descendant of Jerah. There were also 956 family leaders from the Benjamin tribe who settled in Jerusalem. They included Salu, son of Meshulam, grandson of Hodaviah, and great-grandson of Hasheniah, Ibniah, son of Jeroham, Elah, son of Uzi, and grandson of Michiri, Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, grandson of Luel, and great-grandson of Ebenijah. The priest who settled in Jerusalem. Here is a list of priests who settled in Jerusalem: Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, Jashin, Azariah, who was a temple official and whose ancestors included Hilkiah, Meshullam, Zadok, Meriah, and Ahitub, and Adaiah, son of Jeroham, whose ancestors included Pashur and Marchiah, Masai, son of Adiel, whose ancestors included Jela, Meshullam, Meshilemis, and Immer. There was a total of 1,760 priests, all of them family leaders in their clan and trained in the work at the temple. The Levites who settled in Jerusalem. Here is a list of Levites who settled in Jerusalem. Shemaiah from the Merari clan, whose ancestors included Hashhud, Azrikam, and Hashabiah. Bakbarkar, Arash, Gargal, Atania, son of Micah, whose ancestors included Jikri, and Ashab. Abadiah, son of Shemaiah, whose ancestors included Gargal and Jeduthun. Berechiah, son of Asa, and grandson of Elkanah, who had lived in the village near the town of Netophah. The temple guards who settled in Jerusalem, Shalom, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their relatives were the guards at the temple gate. Shalom was the leader of this clan, and for a long time they had been the guards at the king's gate on the east side of the city. Before that, their ancestors guarded the entrance to the Levite camp. Shalom, son of Kor, as well as the other men in the Korahite clan, guarded the entrance to the temple, just as their ancestor had guarded the entrance to the sacred tent. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, had supervised their work because the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelmiah, was also one of the guards at the temple. There was a total of 212 guards, all of them listed in the family records in their towns. Their ancestors had been chosen by King David and by Samuel the prophet to be responsible for this work, and now they guarded the temple gate. There was one full-time guard appointed to each of the four sides of the temple. Their ancestors lived in the villages outside the city, and every 7 days a group of them would come into the city and take their alternate guard duty. The four full-time guards were Levites, and they supervised the other guards and were responsible for the rooms in the temple and the supplies kept there. They guarded the temple day and night and opened its doors every morning. The duties of the Levites. Some of the Levites were responsible for the equipment used in worship at the temple, and they had to count everything before and after it was used. Others were responsible for the temple furnishings and its sacred objects, as well as the flour, wine, olive oil, incense, and spices. But only the priest could mix the spices. Matithia, Shalom's oldest son, was a member of the Levite clan of Korah, and he was in charge of baking the bread used for offerings. The Levites from the Kohath clan were in charge of baking the sacred loaves of bread for each Sabbath. The Levite family leaders, who were in the musicians, also lived at the temple. They had no other responsibilities because they were on duty day and night. All of these men were family leaders in the Levi tribe and were listed that way in their family records. They lived in Jerusalem. King Saul's family, Jael, had settled the town of Gibeon, where he and his wife Maacah lived. They had 10 sons who were born in the following order: Abdon, Jor, Kish, Bar, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah and Milcolus, and the father of Shimeon. Some of them went to live in Jerusalem near their relatives. Nor was the father of Kish and the grandfather of King Saul. Saul had four sons, Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Ashbal. Jonathan was the father of Milibal and grandfather of Micah and the great-grandfather of Piton, Melech, Terah, Teleah, and Ahaz. The descendants of Ahaz included Jarah, Alemeth, Ajimabeth, Jimni, Muza, Binea, Rephaiah, Elisha, and Azel, and his six sons, Azrikam, Bocheru, Ishmael, Sheariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. 1 Chronicles 10. King Saul and his sons die. The Palestinians fought against Israel in a battle at Mount Gilboa. Israel's soldiers ran from the Palestinians, and many of them were killed. The Palestinians closed in on Saul and his sons and killed three of them, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. The fighting was fierce around Saul, and he was badly wounded by enemy arrows. Saul told the soldier who carried his weapons, "Kill me with your sword. I don't want those godless Palestinians to torture and make fun of me." But the soldier was afraid to kill him. Then Saul stuck himself in the stomach with his own sword and fell on the blade. When the soldier realized that Saul was dead, he killed himself in the same way. Saul, three of his sons, and all his male relatives were dead. The Israelites who lived in Jezreel Valley learned that their army had run away and that Saul and his sons were dead. They ran away too, and the Palestinians moved into the towns the Israelites left behind. The next day, the Palestinians came back to the battlefield to carry away the weapons of the dead Israelite soldiers. When they found the bodies of Saul and his sons on Mount Gilboa, they took Saul's weapons, pulled off his armor, and cut off his head. Then they sent messengers everywhere in Palestina to spread the news among their people and to thank the idols of their gods. They put Saul's armor in the temple of their gods and hung his head in the temple of their god Dagon. When the people who lived in Jabesh in Gilead heard what the Palestinians had done to Saul, some brave men went to get his body and the bodies of his three sons. The men brought the bodies back to Jabesh, where they buried them under an oak tree. Then for 7 days they went without eating to show their sorrow. Saul died because he was unfaithful and disobeyed the Lord. He even asked advice from a woman who talked to spirits of the dead instead of asking the Lord. So the Lord had Saul killed and gave his kingdom to David. the son of Esau,